full Taz, all that. How you feeling?
Good. I mean, I thought just kind of both sides of the ball have played with a lot of energy. So I just think when you get to, the sixth day, that's the main point of emphasis. Now all of a sudden the energy kind of comes from the opportunity to play some actual football, live football. So I thought it was good. I thought good on both sides of the ball. A lot of situational stuff that's come up, and I thought it's been good learning.
What are you liking from your group of guys so far? What are you seeing who's really kind of standing out in your eyes that's kind of taking that next step right now?
Yeah, I think the main thing I would just say that has probably stood out is just there's been some guys that have made plays and really, kind of played to their strengths, which is exciting to see. The energy that they've played with day in and day out has been a positive, really from the receiver group. And, I think every day there's been a few guys that have shown up. Zach Card's made some big plays. I think he's improved a ton over the summer. Eddie Freehoff's made some plays, and he's a big, strong, physical kid that probably doesn't know how strong he is, and now all of a sudden he's starting to play big, and which has been encouraging, kind of seeing them gain some confidence. Malachi Durant's made some plays. Trent Walker, had a good day yesterday. So I think just from him, you just kind of you expect a good day from him, but it's been encouraging to see some guys make plays, some different guys make plays.
You guys didn't pursue a big receiver in the portal, only one freshman coming in. But speak to kind of the confidence you guys have in this group, just being able to run it back like that.
Yeah, I think that the collection that was kind of built in the first place, is quality from a depth standpoint, from a talent standpoint. And then, when you talk about the portal and you talk about, just kind of the rule changes in college football with this 105 stuff, you got to make sure that, roster spots are limited, and you got to make sure, when you feel good about the guys you've got, you need to maybe address other positions. But that's really been the main point of emphasis with the group we've got is we just got to get the younger guys to really emerge and create more quality depth behind the guys that are proven.
Trent had a real breakout year last year. What does he do well that creates that kind of separation?
He has a really good feel for the game, and he's a very instinctual player. He's actually, a guy that, coming out of high school, he was recruited on both sides of the ball. And I think that, a lot of schools had him on their board as a safety because he's just an instinctual football player. When you got a guy that, when you put on the film and he's making plays on both sides of the ball as a high school player, typically those are the best football players. So I think that that's what he does really well. And he had a breakout year, but I also think that he'll be the first one to tell you there's meat left on the bone for him too. So I'm excited because I think that he's improved certain aspects of his game that it only enhances his really kind of exceptional feel for the game.
Can you elaborate on what that might be?
Yeah, I think that, a big one for us that we've kind of emphasized is just, if we can find an extra yard or two at the end of catches, that for every time that it's a bang-bang play where you catch and get tackled, maybe you get more yards out of, maybe you can find 4 more yards on one where you got a little more space. So, we really emphasize the run after catch. We really emphasize, just as far as, winning at the line of scrimmage, how he can really enhance his game in that way. Because that's something where people are going to really try and disrupt timing with him more than anything. So he's got to be really good, with his hands and stuff like that at the line of scrimmage, and he's really improved there.
You've been around a number of very prolific passing offenses at a number of levels of college football. What are kind of the similarities you see kind of between this group and ones you've been around in the past?
I think the most important thing is, and we call it in the receiver room, winning at the ball. You can sit there and look at all these guys and do all these cute drills and stuff like that. It really comes down to the name of the game is making plays. And that's something that, it's like you can win 99% of the rep and still lose at the end, but you can also lose 99% of the rep and still win at the end. And so that's really, the best guys that I've been around, just they find a way to win, play in and play out. And that's something that I think that, we've got some guys that really, especially as they continue to gain confidence, can really do that, as far as, the name of the game is making plays.
You mentioned Eddie, just a kid from a very small, kind of Central Oregon town. What's it been like kind of seeing his development throughout the spring and into now?
Well, the number one thing that jumps out at me about Eddie is because he was hurt his senior year of high school too. and he didn't start playing football until pretty late. You know, I think he was a freshman when he started playing in the first place. You know, so his actual kind of, you know, cumulative football experience is relatively low. And so I think that just for him, it's just kind of he comes across new situations all the time. Everything's new to him, but then he learns from it and he grows from it and he cares. You know, I think that that's one of the things that's been really cool is, you know, I'll sit up in my office, I'll look out on a, you know, random Tuesday afternoon and he's out there walking through stuff on the field. You know, so it's been cool to see his growth just because he's committed to it, but it's also every day is like a new experience for him, and it's like, hey, I've never seen that happen before. I've never seen this happen before. So, you know, seeing him kind of grow through that's been cool.
As a guy who's worked with a lot of receivers in your life, is there something fun about getting a kid that raw and just kind of being able to mold him into what you want him to be?
Yeah, like you almost, you know, especially when you have a guy that's really that committed, you almost have to make sure that, you know, you don't tell him anything that, you know, because he'll take it literally, you know. So you have to really make sure that you're very proactive and exact in your coaching because, you know, he's going to take things literally. But yeah, it's fun because, you know, you look at him, he looks like a, you know, Big Ten SEC receiver, just kind of, you know, I mean, he's physically impressive, and now it's just a matter of just kind of putting it all together for him. So it's been cool to see.
We saw Elijah today on one of the plays, wide open down the sideline. Quarterback wasn't able to get the ball to him, but that sort of speed, when you see that, what does that potentially mean to the offense? And as a freshman, what does he have to do to actually get on the field?
Yeah, I think there's a variety of things that keep freshmen from getting on the field, and usually it's volume of playbook. Is usually for most guys the first thing. Is there's kind of a physical side of it, there's a mental side of it. Physically, he's twitchy, he can run, he's quick, he's strong. You know, he's a good he's good in the weight room. Like he's a good lifter. I mean, he's physically developed. You know, the big thing for him will just be putting all things together and. You know, and then just also being confident that he's going to make the play when he gets an opportunity to. You know, that's when you're a young guy, you don't get a ton of opportunities, you don't get a ton of reps, so you got to make the reps count. You know, and so I think that's one of the things that for some young guys, that's hard to build confidence when you don't get a ton, and then if you don't make it count, you know, you don't really build that confidence.
Jimmy, Valsin obviously missed all of last year. It looks like he's kind of starting to ramp back up to a point. What does he do for you? What's it like getting a guy back and being able to try and get them back up to speed?
I'm excited because I haven't seen Jimmy do anything. You know, I've just gone off the film really from some of the previous practices, and you know, I know he played in the bowl game a couple years ago, and you know, so I'm just excited because you just look at him. I mean, he's big, he can run, he catches the ball well. So you know, I think that he just, when you talk about the quality depth in the room and trying to and enhance that. You know, it probably from a competitive standpoint puts some guys on notice of like, man, like Jimmy's coming back. You know, so. I'm excited to add him back to the group. You know, it's just a matter of, you know, when he's fully ready to go.
And kind of, how have you felt about Taz kind of coming along, and what does he really add for you guys?
Yeah, Taz, he's a really good football player and can play a variety of positions. He's really smart. You know, I think that's probably one of the things that I've been just really pleased with is just kind of his grasp of just football and concepts and understanding it. You know, I mean, he really does think. He asks higher level questions. He thinks at a higher level, you know, just as far as he really wants to understand the why behind things. And so he's been fun to coach, you know, because I think that he wants to be a complete receiver.
We saw him get his bell rung pretty good and pop right back up, was in on the next rep. What's that kind of toughness? Is that something you're looking for in the slot?
That's what I want to see that from him all the time. I want to see him pop up all the time, but you know, but he is tough. You know, so I think that, you know, it helps the group when guys get hit like that and they get up and they go play the next play. It just kind of creates a standard.
You've talked about the depth in the group that you like. Over the next couple of weeks, you got to make some decisions about who's actually going to get some playing time, you know, come regular season. What's the divide? What's the difference? What are you looking for between the guys that are going to get to play and the guys that aren't?
It really comes down to who can make plays, who can handle the stress of playing when coaches aren't out on the field. You know, I think that's a big deciding factor for young guys. Is all of a sudden, you know, when a coach isn't standing out there right behind you, helping you line up or adjusting your split or reminding you of things, all of a sudden you put me on the sideline and you put Coach Gunderson on the sideline, and we're not there to make sure everything's right. Can you handle that? You know, I think that's from a young guy standpoint. You know, and ultimately it comes down to who makes the plays. And that's something where, I don't shy away from that, where, the standard is to make plays and the guys who are going to play. And, we talk about all the time, we've got a good tight end room as well. If we want to have more receivers on the field, like we kind of have to outplay that room too, from a competitive standpoint, because we got to justify taking good players off the field to put us on the field, and just like the tight ends should feel the same way. So, when you talk about making those decisions, it really comes down to making plays. Like that's ultimately the end-all, be-all is who's going to make plays, and especially be able to make plays under duress. Anybody can do it once.
Any surprises?
Question.
Any surprises? No, I would say I'm encouraged by the growth of the young guys, but wouldn't say there's any surprises. There's guys that I thought had really good summers, that have emerged, and so I'm just kind of excited to see just kind of some of the guys that are closing the gap as far as the depth in the room.
Thanks,
Thanks,
sir.
Coach.
Got your bell rung pretty good there, pop right back up. How's the first day of having all the pads back on?
Oh, day one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just hit the ground pretty hard. I got right back up, Coach has been telling me that's an issue I've been having, so, I got to try and improve that as much as I can.
When it comes to that kind of physicality, when you can show that, how much confidence does it give you, and kind of to set the tone as well that, if you can get hit, clocked, and get back up, what does it kind of show to the other guys that they can kind of do the same?
Right now, I'm a vet in the room now, so, I got to set the tone for the younger guys. Younger meaning who will look up to me and us in the room, me, Sauce, and Darius. If I hit the ground and go down and stay down there too long, they're probably wouldn't see, it'd be a bad image on them, if that makes sense.
You like that role?
Yeah, I do. I love that role. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on just the wide receiver room as a whole, just the talent that y'all bring to the seasons, to the team this year?
I think we're gonna have a big year, especially with everyone coming back, especially the biggest pieces in the room coming back. I feel like the sky's the limit for us, especially with Malik. Back there, he got the arm to throw anywhere on the field at any time, any given time, and we have the receivers for it. We get that job done.
Where do you prefer to line up? Do you like being out wide? Do you like the slot? What do you like about each?
That's a good question. I like the slot a little bit more. I feel like me getting time to read the defense and seek out where I can sit in certain zones, and I feel like I can be more savvy in the slot. But I do love the outside as well, because every receiver wants to be an X. You know what I'm trying to say? To show they can win those one-on-ones when it counts.
Just your thoughts on kind of fall priorities. You guys are now about a little over a weekend. Do you feel like you guys are starting to get a handle of getting back kind of full speed? And do you feel like, the last couple practices you guys have been beating the defense, losing the defense, and where do you feel like you guys still want to improve upon right now?
I feel like our biggest improvement in the room is trying to keep everyone healthy. We have some people going down every other day. It seems like defense and offense. And I feel like if we compete and keep each other healthy, that'd be the biggest improvement this fall.
Do you mind going over the middle? Do you take that on or fear that shot when you're not looking?
Nah, I don't mind. As long as I try and get the ball, My job is to catch the ball, and if the hit comes, If I can stay up and score, that's the end goal. But I don't mind.
What do you think of the development of this receiver room year over year?
Repeat that.
Over the last year, how have you seen this receiver room develop?
I feel like we developed in a more of a more of a veteran way, if that makes sense. A lot of us are getting older and starting to understand the different levels and tiers of being a receiver at this point. A lot of us last year didn't get to play that much. A lot of us, we were getting our feet wet. But I feel like this year, we understand it now. With a quarterback like Malik that came in from different programs, especially teaching us things he learned at other programs. I feel like that's probably the biggest piece. And he could teach us things we never knew, especially with Coach Pat coming in and giving us his knowledge. I think he's a great coach. The sky's the limit for us.
You brought up Malik a couple of times now without us asking.
Yeah.
Does he just change the feeling in the room? Does it feel like he's just raised the bar for what is possible for this offense?
Yes, I feel like he does, especially with now being able to run certain routes. And I know he can get the ball there and know the timing of how he sees it, not just how I see it. I feel like that's the biggest piece for him because, he know what it's supposed to look like and how certain routes and where the ball is supposed to be. And I feel like me going in the huddle, in and out the huddle, trusting him to where exactly I need the ball is the biggest thing.
Do you
How's that
notice-
development progressed with that connection?
Through spring ball,
Yeah, just like from there to fall and just figuring out where you need to be, knowing where he wants it and how he wants it to be.
that's a good question. Spring ball, as you can see, we missed a lot of deep balls. We didn't really connect because we didn't know where he wanted to place the ball. And I feel like this offseason we worked on that day and night, over the shoulders, where he's going to place the ball when we stacked the DB. That was the biggest thing, especially you seeing us connect now this fall. Is the biggest thing.
Coach Gunderson was saying he kind of had to pull you guys back because it was too many days a week, like 6 days a week. You guys were out working with
Yeah,
the league.
yeah.
You know?
That's the goal. That's the goal. Yeah.
Do you notice more of an emphasis on the deep ball because he can throw deep and you got speed on you guys?
Yeah, and I felt like Coach Gundy wanted to let us loose last year, and we just didn't have the arm talent for it. But I know with Malik and Barry back there, I can really launch it, and Coach Gundy having confidence in them and confidence in us especially is big for us in the room. Because, every receiver wants to show they're deep threats.
Yeah.
That's what everyone wants to be, and I feel that's who we are.
So
It
Coach-
does, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Coach Fentz, brought you in. What has Coach now McCann brought to you guys maybe different?
Two completely different coaching styles. I feel like for the guys in the room, the vets in the room, that was coached by Fence and coached by Coach Pat. Bringing those two together is the biggest thing because there's a lot of things I really understand with Coach Fence, which now I understand with Coach Pat.
Just a
And-
different way, a different terminology.
Yeah,
for
it's a
explaining
different
it.
terminology, But they're both great coaches. I mean, I wouldn't trade him for anyone else, and I'm just happy he's here.
You mentioned Jabari. It does seem like the ball's coming out of his hand a little differently this fall than it has in the past. Are you guys seeing that and the improvement? What improvement has he made in terms of getting you the ball?
I feel like he's been doing good, as you guys can see. He's been with us, working with us, working on our timing. Because I feel like last year we were just practicing and coming out of practice and not getting extra work. When after practice, that's where you're gonna connect and feel the timing of certain routes.
Any story behind the jersey number change?
Yeah, my mom's favorite number is 3. So yeah, she's a big three fan. So
Was
changing for her.
Tristan grateful he got 10 back from his high school days?
Yeah.
Why does she like 3? What's the history there?
I don't know. I just asked her, I said, hey, Mom, like, what's your favorite number? She was like, I like 3. I said, okay, I got you.
Okay.
Big Allen Iverson fan, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
It's been a while since we've talked to you. What's kind of the last year of your life looked like? How's the injury rehab been?
Well, I've just been like rehabbing, trying to get back to where I've been. I've been out like for a while, so I actually injured myself twice. Once the first time was shooting an NIL commercial, and then the second time in the summer trying to come back. And the process was long and hard, but I just pushed to recover because I want to get back to the top of my game.
Not so much time removed since it. What was it that you injured?
I tore my patellar tendon.
Okay, gotcha.
How have you just kind of dealt with that mentally? Because when you deal with back-to-back injuries and you feel like you're coming back and you get another setback, just how do you make sure you've kept yourself in the right mind space to be in here in this spot today?
Just really growing up, my mentality is just like I face a lot of adversity, so like I know what it's like to go through stuff and then keep going and push forward. Because at the end of the day, nobody's just gonna hand you anything. You got to get up and do it yourself.
Was it frustrating that this happened after you had a game where you really gotten to kind of show what you could do a little bit?
Yeah, I mean it was terrible, tragic actually, going through that. But I just had to look at the brighter things and look at the light at the tunnel. I knew something was gonna happen.
How are your teammates? Do they help you through that?
Yeah, they were all there for me, and they were saying like, oh, if you ever need anything, I'll be there for you. Just all my teammates coming together for me, that really made me feel good.
Tragic's a pretty strong word to use. Can you maybe tell us a little bit more about that? Just kind of what occurred?
Yeah, I mean it's hard. Like playing, I played like 4 years before, 3 years actually before that injury happened, and just like building up on everything that I learned and stuff like that, and then just having a major setback with that, it was terrible.
What are you kind of looking to do now? It seems like you're ramping back up. Do you have a timeline when you're planning on returning, when you're going to be cleared, or what are you kind of looking forward to do this year?
I'm not sure yet when I'm going to return, but I know when I do return, the energy in the room is going to be a lot different, and the team's going to be a lot different.
Can you talk to me just about the hunger of wanting to get back after, not playing for so long and wanting to get back on the field? Just like how driven are you to, if you can express that into words, to get on the field sometime this season and show what you got again?
I just see like all my teammates, my friends, like in the league and at different colleges, like playing. I'm like, damn, like, oh, my bad. Like, I just want to get back to that and like compete. Like, I'm a big competitor and I love doing that. So, yeah.
What has it been like, being around Malik and looking forward to, working with him once you are, fully back?
He's a big character. He has a lot of energy, which is great. I love that from a QB, somebody that's not scared to speak up and say how he feels.
You've been around quite a few of these receivers in this room for a couple of years now. Just can you talk about what you've seen in the growth of this wide receiver room and what this room might be capable of in your eyes this season, what they'll be able to show?
Yeah, coming in, it was a lot of veteran guys. Like, so as young freshmen, we didn't really like know the offense coming in, but like going into this year, a lot of freshmen have stepped up and took on the role of trying to be like a veteran and learning to play like a veteran, which is good for the team.
So were you part of I hear Malik is a very early riser. Were you part of this group that was trying to like beat each other to the facility each morning?
Yeah, it's exciting. Just like seeing all the guys that want to be up here and push for greatness.
All right, anything else? Thanks, Jimmy.